It's almost 3 a.m. here in Spain, which is where I'm recording this video. And today is 14th of April of 2024. And I believe we are officially starting a World War III today in planet Earth. I'm not sure who will be the watcher of this video. Maybe machines, maybe human beings, maybe who knows. Um, mm, and I'm not sure of what's going to happen in the next minutes while I'm recording this. So if you are watching, thank you. Hi, my name is Carlos, and I'm believe that I am a human being that got to be born 30 years ago. And at the moment, I'm the founder of Plain Camp, which is a very tiny startup that is facilitating well-being experience and offering corporate events to companies to promote joyful connections in nature between people and to promote peaceful interactions among each other. So in a day of World War III starting, which probably this day will be on history books, 14th of April, I watched this video of this person called Zach Pogrov, which said, "You must believe you are the one." And you must believe you are the one. And if you are an ambitious person and you want to have an impact on the world and history, you must believe you are the one. So we gotta start there. And Zach, which is really good with words, he says, you must feel destiny running through your veins, right? And when I was listening to these things, I was like, okay, playing camp is a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful movement. I have a huge vision for it. And part of the vision is aligned with this, which is like, okay, if you can dream bigger, if you can have a bigger vision, what would it be? And when I look at myself and I thought about where I was when I was starting my degree on psychology, I was thinking like I'm gonna have a Nobel Prize. And then I was checking like different psychologists and I was thinking like, okay, how many psychologists have gotten a Nobel Prize, if any? And then I found out Pavlov, the Russian researcher that discovered or that discovered the classical conditioning. He was granted the Nobel Prize of Medicine. And then Kahneman also, he has been granted the Nobel Prize of Economics. But then I was thinking like, okay, I also want my Nobel Prize. Which Nobel Prize do I want? Guess. The Peace Nobel Prize. I think it's probably, all Nobel Prizes are amazing. What does this imply for me as a psychologist? And just so you know that I have like a decent amount of self-awareness, ambition and recognition, which are most likely my two childhood wounds. I want to be seen and I want to be recognized and I want to have a big positive impact in the lives of people. So let's call this video my how to win a Nobel Prize piece. So at the moment, I had like this random connection of different thoughts, which is like, okay, what are my clients within Plain Camp at the moment? One of them is becoming Airbus. Another one is becoming Iberia, which is interestingly a flight too. Like they make airplanes, they move people with these airplanes. And then I'm having different hotel brands also that are reaching out. Well, I'm reaching out to all of them, but they are responding. So hotels. Yeah, it's 3 hours. So and here is, a very easy connection with this could be like tourism, right? Yeah, tourism. However, in a world where, well, just to contextualize the moment, and then you don't have to come back and forth to other sources of information, Israel, well, there is a resistant group in Palestine called Hamas, which was attacking Israel on 7th of October, another important date. And then Israel has been bombing nonstop and committing a genocide on Palestinian people for the last 6 months. And at the same time, Israel, which is an ally of the United States, because United States and the UK have been like working a lot to keep Israel controlling as much as possible the Middle East and the region. There is Hezbollah on Lebanon, so they are also attacking from the north to Israel from time to time. Israel has been attacking everyone. They have bombed recently an embassy on Damascus. The embassy was from Iran. So Iran is now bombing Israel like tonight. And this has been like, okay, they are bombing our allies. So then United States seems to be coming to the action. And all the world is like, oh, what's happening? And it's like, guys, 6 months of killing non-stop Palestinian people, and the world was pretty quiet about it. Now Iran defends itself by sending some bombs to Israel. And at the same time, there is a war between Russia and Ukraine, which has been lasted for a couple of years already, I believe, where Russia invaded Ukraine. United States was giving different type of arms to Ukraine to fight back. And at the same time, United States was giving arms to Taiwan to protect themselves to an invasion from China, which might happen in the next weeks, days, hours, month. We don't know. But it seems that maybe all of this moving at the same time. United States, in their own propaganda style, they are saying like, and I'm speaking in English, so you can see like who has been the most powerful power during the last 50 years, because I'm speaking English. So that's a bit of a thing. And yeah, so then there are some US politicians that they are saying like Iran, Russia, China, they are the axis of evil. Nowadays I'm questioning a lot of these things because it's like, okay, we might be listening to different parts. And at the same time, we are in a very interesting moment of history because, well, Argentina is ruled by a guy that is like a libertarian, so he's basically destroying a lot of public social infrastructure, like social support systems, to move to a more hardcore ultra-capitalist economical system. And at the same time, well, Elon Musk, which is, I mean, I totally admire Elon Musk, and I believe he's like one of the good guys in this whole story. He's friends with, to a certain extent, to this Argentinian guy, which is buying also airplanes, like fight airplanes, and he is pro-Israel and Zionist. So that implies also some South American countries, and then we have different countries, and there is a social movement, I would say, in Europe towards supporting Palestine and going against Israel, and like an alternative of all these United States Western military control of Earth, basically. But Europe is like a classic ally of United States, and at the same time, Germany is quite close with Israel. Well, so guys, it's a fucking total mess. Like, yeah, and Africa is doing its best to survive, basically, with its own regional conflict. So you must believe you are the one And if nobody wants to be the one, I have to be the one. Like I choose to be the one. So my question is how to win a Nobel Prize. And for this, I was brainstorming with a friend not long ago, this summer 2023, with my friend Roberto Corona, which has another foundation, which is called Collecting Smiles. And he has been traveling around the world for the last 11 years, taking pictures of people smiling and how we all smile in the same way in all the planet. And it's like, really good point, Roberto. Like it's truly a really good point. And in my case, playing camp is about how can we use play as a way of interacting with each other and understanding each other's limits and communicating with each other in a way that what matters is the action more than the result. So the way I call it is like purposeless activities for meaningful connections. So what we want to keep and preserve is the connections in a way that is meaningful and we can co-create a planet with each other instead of focusing so much on what we are doing. Is like, who are we and how can we keep on playing together for the long time? Because you don't win at play, you win by playing the longest with the most amount of people in a way that everybody is benefited from the play. So play is the basic mechanism of mammals, including humans, of developing their own physical, psychological, social, emotional, interpersonal skills. So how can we use play to win the Nobel Prize, basically? So that's a bit of what we are discovering now today. Truly, I don't know. Like, I mean, if you give me, I feel a bit like I'm running late, okay? Because I was thinking like in my visions, I was in Palestine and I was in Israel way before October 7th. And I was running plane camps over there and somehow helping some population to understand the other's enemy population as human to human. And somehow being able to move people into a more global planetary vision of each other. And for this, Ken Wilber is an author that I have not read and I would wish to. But yeah, it's 3 in the morning and I'm doing this video because I spent the last 3 hours watching things about international politics and geopolitical conflicts. Yeah. And I'm doing this actually because there is this guy, Zach Pogro, again, which says like action cures anxiety. So for me, this is a form of action because I can speak, I can create this video, which hopefully I don't know where it's gonna get, somewhere. And this might help myself to manage my own emotions into this moment. So where are we going from here? So, okay, tourism is an industry that is going to be highly affected by the international conflict, obviously. However, we have Airbus and Iberia. So, how can we leverage these companies? And especially because what I want to do, well, we have not started to speak about this. So one of my missions with Playing Camp is to move to as many companies as possible, as quick as possible, and to train other people to facilitate these experiences so then they can understand that it's better when we feel good about each other and when we interact with each other in a way that is lovingly and peacefully and happily. And yeah, I was thinking about going to Silicon Valley by January, which is one of my questions. Like, can I go to Silicon Valley in January of 2025? So for context, we're in April now. Yes, so 2024. And I might need to accelerate this. Why? Because what's happening in Silicon Valley? Well, so there is these different tech companies, which if you are alive when I'm alive, you might have heard of them. Google, Meta, which used to be Facebook. And then we have Tesla, we have OpenAI, and NVIDIA. NVIDIA is a pretty important player, especially because if you recall from China invading Taiwan, in Taiwan, there is plenty of microchips being developed. So all these microchips, there's going to likely, if some conflict happen between China and Taiwan, is going to affect the production of microchips, which this everything around me has microchips. And that's going to be like a very interesting times as well. So so my plan to go to Silicon Valley is basically like, okay, let's meet influential people, let's bring playing camp to these people, and let's try to communicate to them like, hey guys, what if there is a practice that we can perform every day that is going to help us to get along with each other in a more peaceful, loving way, and we can utilize this practice to avoid escalating conflicts. And those are like pretty important people, to be honest. It's like Elon Musk, Sam Altman, the CEOs of Meta, Google, Nvidia. So all these people are like pretty important people. So in one part of the equation, we have politics, and I believe it might be a bit difficult to go with playing camp to politicians and say, hey guys, let's play with each other. They will be like, get the fuck out of here now. So please, I have serious stuff to do. Go out. However, when you go to a company and you tell them like, guys, if we play with each other, your company will perform better, they will make more money. They might say like, maybe you have a point, right? Like, okay, let's make my employees be happier and more productive together. So then between all of them, there will be much more productivity and therefore much more money. My company will grow and blah, blah. And we have not even mentioned very briefly, AI and robots. Why? And I believe this is how all of this is moving towards that direction. So Israel has been using AI to a certain extent into the war with Palestine. And we are very close of having humanoids robots that can see better than us, that can think faster than us, and that can move probably faster than us. Yeah, of course, like a drone. So we are using drones in wars. And Elon Musk is about to take us. If we give Elon Musk 10 years, we might be on Mars doing a plane camp. If we don't fuck up in these 10 years, for example, with a nuclear war, like a World War III. So, and if we don't apply, if we start putting AI and robots into war, which things might move into that direction, then we are messing up. So, how to use these AI and robots for this piece, right? And then you say, yeah, of course, you get a robot, and then you go to these conflict areas, and then you get the robot to disarm both sides of the equation and somehow start negotiating between them and ideally put them to play. That seems like a solution, but which government is going to accept this? Probably none. So it might be like a private corporation. And then countries, already these companies, that's the reason why I want to go to Silicon Valley, because those companies have definitely more influence than governments, because journalists check their information on social media platforms, which are owned by people that live here, as well as, fun enough, my mobile phone got stolen, and I went to the police to report a claim that was stolen, and then those guys on the police here in Spain, they check Google Maps. So national security forces on Europe are using the services of these companies, and that's the level of interdependency and especially the level of power that they have according to data. Like, when a security force in a country is using the data provided by a private American corporate, is like this level. And China, for example, is like this island that nobody knows much here, or at least not so much information arrives to us. They have their own social media, they have their own databases of information, satellites, everything. So from now to 10 years, I might have to change Silicon Valley and say like, hey, let's go to Beijing to play camp in Beijing. And ideally, and actually, fun enough, I have this book, which is originally from China, which is my reference book in the whole thing of how to become a good leader. This is good. The non-existent can enter into the impenetrable. By this, I know that non-action is useful. Here I am doing action, but non-action, like, let's not jump into another, killing each other. Teaching without words, utility without action. Few in the world have come to this. So this is a direct message for me that I don't understand, and I'm going to apply this to, this is one of the things, like I will start doing this type of videos with this type of content for how to become better leaders. And this is one, like how to become a better leader. Sometimes it's non-action. Like, it doesn't mean no, non-action. It means, teaching without words. This book is good. Utility without action. I actually don't know. So I'm listening to a lot of, this podcast is called How to Take Over the World, which is very aligned with all this that we are speaking about. And they speak about Julius Caesar, which was always quick on action. And well, I'm pretty quick on action that I'm doing this video now. But at the same time, I believe there is balance on this non-action, especially in these cases where it's like, okay, let's be calm, observe each other. So yeah, that's Taoism. And I'm going to write it. I think it's an important word on this scheme. Taoism. For leadership. Now is where I move to the other side. Voila. And look how magic is the technology that I have here at my place. Boom. Where am I going with this rant? Don't know, guys. Probably I have to start doing talks about Taoism. Like, this is the best tools that I have. Communication. Like, believe me, I don't know how to do many other things than this. Like, at the end of the day, I'm a psychologist. Okay, I'm a psychologist. I'm not a politician. I don't want to say I'm nobody, but you see my level of how I'm ordering this. Like, how am I setting up lights here in my room? This is not like special quality of anything. I'm just trying. And I'm doing it because I have to believe I'm the one, even when I'm doing this. But I'm an artistic director and I know that the shadow is distracting. So give me a pause. Boom. Lovely. So I'm a communicator. At the end of the day is what I'm doing here. So talks about play and about peace, peaceful play. I love all these games. Something with P. I don't care. Taoism for leaders. So somehow my creative mind, I acknowledge that I'm a creative person, has to mix these three messages. How can we use play as a tool for peace for leaders? So yeah, so the focus is on the leadership because that's the, yeah. And the leadership of the companies are the CEOs. So how can we use play to resolve conflicts in companies by creating content around Taoism? This is so much work. But you must believe you're the one, Nobel Prize, action cures anxiety. Like I'm choosing this amount of work. And I'm a bit stressed because it's work that has to be done as quick as possible. And how much is as quick as possible? Maybe it means stop sleeping for weeks and obsess. And I have a plan. And in my plan says like, if I'm able to stick to my schedule for 1 day, I can stick to my schedule for 1 decade. And before cleaning the whiteboard today, I had something that was like the season of no. And the season of no allegedly was like not checking social media, not checking anything, just focus on the actions. And the things have happened because I have started to get results. And I'm starting to get playing gambit to these companies. So I might have to enter like a season of no, but like a serious season of no to truly get here. Peace. International, global, planetary peace. And this is so important because Jordan Peterson is another influence of mine, and he says like, you take the responsibility on your shoulders of the world, basically. Like when you are taking this choice of you believe you have an impact as an individual, and you review all your actions, and you get in front of your own self and your own shadows, and you say like, okay, this is what I am, this is what I've done, this is what I'm committing to do in the future. Then it's like things start happening. So if I stick to my plan for 1 day, I can stick to it for a decade. And one of my 10-year plans is to build cities. But at this time that we are moving, maybe there's not even like a possibility of that because everything is burned to the ground. So fun fact, if I would have totally focused and lock myself in my room as it's happening tonight, without any contact with the exterior information, because my problem is like I check I check this news, World War III is starting, and then I spend 3 hours, and my calendar, supposedly I should have been posting content in social media. I should have been like reaching out to companies and building a system of cold marketing and cold email. I have not. I have spent my last 3 hours checking what the hell was going on the planet right now and how the bombs were going from one side to another. The funny story is like, if I would have locked myself for the last 6 weeks in my room, I would have lost a lot of information about huge updates that are going on in the planet. And some of the updates is the things that I mentioned before about robots and how the robots are smarter now and how they move independently and they understand humans and can analyze their vision is insane. Like, yeah. Cheers. And one of the recent videos that I watched was Elon Musk speaking about how he plans to send the rockets to Mars. Ah. So my question for you is like, well, the companies is, yeah, well, arm companies but yeah, what do you do with a company that is selling arms? I mean, Airbus probably is related with radar systems and military aircrafts and 20 other things. So if I can solve conflicts, I mean, it's all learning. I need to start thinking about this. If I learn how to solve conflicts between companies, first, within teams, then I'm going to go here because of the light. If I learn how to solve conflicts within work teams, if I learn how to solve conflicts with high decision maker executives, somehow I'm learning how to solve conflicts with high decision makers with classical masculine roles, highly influential decision makers in an organization, which is not that far from politicians. It's not that far from politicians within their own government, among different political parties, and between different countries. So at the end of the day, I'm learning a very valuable skill, which is problem solving, conflict resolution among highly influential decision makers and leaders of huge organizations. And the Tao is there. And the Tao is a book that has been with me for 10 years. So Taoism for leaders, peace, play, talks. Yeah. So the classic skills that are related are negotiation, which is a lovely book. This one of Never Split the Difference. It's like I have to study that book. I'm going to study. Non-violent communication. I mean, obviously, spirituality. This I know a little bit more. Yeah, I have all these. Okay, now I'm thinking. I've been solving this. Well, let's even get deeper into this. According to my human design, there is a change on my 30s where I have been a person that was very provoking and always looking for limits on other people. And now I'm becoming a person that is always focused on peace building. And that's really interesting on myself and how I might apply all of the things that I have learned and that I'm learning and that I have to learn and apply into others people's lives and especially into all these international relationships and between countries. And that's why I don't plan these things because now we are getting into something. Nonviolent communication, I mean, all this spirituality, which is a lot, but there is plenty of connections because, for example, nonviolent communication in Buddhism, they speak about the term of if you are not violent in your thoughts, you are not violent in your words, you are not violent in your actions. So what we are trying to avoid here is being violent in your actions, and especially when you are a leader, it's like if you are violent in your words, you are going to be violent in your actions through the mechanism of the army, basically. So you are going to influence the enaction of your violence through through mechanisms and tools like robots, tools that are going to inflict that violence into another people instead of you. So this is so important. Non-violent communication. Good. Negotiation. Extremely important. Honesty and radical candor. I don't know anything about this, but I just know the names. Radical candor. Honesty. I mean, communication is so key. If there is a meta skill, is this one. Resilience and adaptability to change. Yeah. But this is all Taoism, but yeah. Resilience, change. But this is more like what I have to work with Airbus now. Positive relationships, yeah, and positive emotions. At the end of the day, my academic education is on positive psychology, so positive emotions and relationships. This is a draft, definitely. I mean, what I'm doing now is a draft, and I'm publishing it. So it's Dancoes is like working public, like building public, which is basically what I'm doing. Nice. I think by talking, that's a really good point. Imagine that one person is able to slow down the escalation of conflict towards World War III. This is what we're talking about. Like how crazy, how delusional a human being has to be to think like, okay, I am going to be the person that slows down World War III. Like what amount of vision and delusion you need to have. But guys, I'm going to tell you the story of this phone. This is the phone that they stole me yesterday, right? And thanks to technology, this phone was sending a geolocalization signal. So I was able to see whereabouts was this phone with my computer, which luckily they didn't install. So the phone was somewhere in the park where it had been installed because in the signal was like is somewhere around. Yesterday I spent 3 hours looking for the phone everywhere. And but I knew it was there because the thing wasn't moving. And when I arrived home and I checked the signal, the phone was still there throughout all the night. So I wake up in the morning, I go to the park, and I'm like, I'm going to find this phone because it's my phone. I pay for this thing, okay? And it's valuable for me. It's maybe my second, third most valuable object that I bought and own. So it's pretty important, and I use it a lot. And there is plenty of information. Anyways, I was determined to find the phone, and because I knew there was a solution, which is find the phone, and I knew it was there, I was looking for it and I was looking for it. At some point, I was like, I'm going to start digging. And I dig. And when I dig, I found the phone that was dig under the soil because the person that had took it had hidden it there to came back later to find it. He's not going to find it because I have it here. And this happened literally this morning, okay? So, so this is the self-belief that I have. Like, tell me how many people got their phone stolen, then the person that stole it buried because there is a lot of police around and they don't want to be caught with a phone that is not theirs. And then the fucking crazy guy that got his phone stolen is so determined that he's going to find it that he's not going to quit until he finds it. And he finds it. And that person is me. So I'm quite proud of it because all the things that I'm learning around business of how the world works on you, which is very much this person, Alex Hormozzi, with this cup of acquisition, which it has a bit of a competition connotation. Acquisition is like I'm going to take you. There might be something like merging, or merging. I believe merging is a nice merging.com. I'm going to write that. I will buy this domain at some point. Merging.com. Well, this is very much whoopa. We're not going to comment that now. How merging and AI and robots and people and Neuralink. I mean, I might be officially one of the last human, 100% human generations. Like, I mean, my phone is still outside of my body, okay? So, but there are already humans on this planet which have their own computers on the brain. As for today, like, this is how 2024 is. Like, this is the beginning, guys. Like, I mean, if you thought this was a lot, there is people watching this video in 2026 or 2020 whatever or 2030 that are like, wow, this guy had zero idea what was coming. And I'm like, you are right. You are totally right. I mean, that's why I want to go to Silicon Valley to have like more information and more idea of what is coming because these guys are building things like are beyond our imagination. And it's happening and it's coming. So it's all an strategic move. So I found the phone, and the reason why I was mentioning Alex Hormozzi was like the world works on you, thanks to know, to have the certainty that the solution is there. There has to be a solution. There has to be a way through. They are going to still giving Nobel Prize every year, So one of these Nobel Prize throughout all these years is going to go to someone on this planet, and it's going to go to one individual. So that that there is by certainty a person every year that is going to receive this. It's just like, it. There is no negotiation, not changing of that. And in the same way, when I'm doing sales, I know that if I keep on sending hundreds of emails every day, there is going to be someone in a human resources department, in a marketing, communication, whatever, that is going to see the plain company, is going to see like, oh, this is cool, this is new, I want to do this fun thing with my employees. So by certainty that the thing is there somewhere, like the phone. The phone is there somewhere. Now, it's your determination and your willingness of relentless action what is going to take you to find that phone, no matter what, by moving and pushing through it. And obviously, there is not so much non-violent communication in this sharing, but sometimes it requires that level of determination, positive determination of an outcome, and there are outcomes that are totally unknown for us. Like, I mean, I just told you, I just throw at you like so many facts or potential scenarios. Like, well, I mean, I spoke more about facts that are happening already. I'm not into potential scenarios. Like, we are focusing on this potential scenario of peace. So how to get there? How to move and manifest and transform the world into that scenario? That's the question of this video. Yeah. I mean, if I do one of these videos every day, I think they will catch up at some point. Merging.com. Yeah. So how we do this, guys? Ideas are very welcome. Help is really welcome. And I know that YouTube is so competitive nowadays that, yeah, it's kind of likely that people actually stick to this. But Jordan Peterson has been approved of uploading content and then getting there at some point in the future. However, my future might not be that far because we need to accelerate things. And for that, we need better quality. But lucky for you, I have a camera here. Well, I'm not going to go through the process of showing you the camera. Next videos, the quality will be better. And ideally, we will have also more planned beforehand, and we will have as well video editors. It's 3:27. No, it's 3:37. So this is more than 40 minutes of videos. We're gonna leave it here today. We're going to recap a bit just for the sake of learning. So you must believe you are the one. And if it's not me, it's you, okay? You must believe you're the one. And that destiny runs through your veins. And if you are well-intentioned, as I believe that I am, acknowledging all my shadow of recognition and fame and ambition, you are aiming for peace, as I am, and for love. And how to get to peace? Through joy. So joy is my mechanism, and this is play. Joy. Because joy, peace, love, between peace and love is joy, right? Taoism leaders, they will have a decent amount of love here. So look, and now we can speak about the spirituality, and we can speak about these emotions, the scale of spiritual emotions, where allegedly here is peace, here is joy, here is love. And someone at some point they asked me like, or I was asking, I don't know, but what is different between joy and love, and how these three emotions, peace, joy, and love, relate to each other? And it was like, love is well, in my definition, joy is the love. Love is the unconditional support of a person when they are in the most vulnerable state. That can be a definition of love. When you are in your most vulnerable state, I'm going to give you unconditional support. I like that one. However, my life partner, or my at the moment my life partner temporarily, the person that lost the phone with me. Let's call her the person that lost the phone with me while we were building a hut together. Brother, it cannot get more archetypical and metaphorical than that. I can go in a rut on a side note about, yeah, actually, let's do it. So I was building this hut, had like this small house with sticks. We were doing plain camp together, and we are building this house. And I took a video of her. I leave the phone on my shoe. I come back with her. We lay down, and I'm admiring her. And at some point in those 5 minutes that we were laying down, someone came, took the phone, and then buried. And then we had all our adventure together of going to the police and finding it, and she was totally sleep deprived. So I was and found my phone and her phone. So yeah, that person, which is extremely archetypical. We were both playing together, building a house. We have such a similar vision. It's weird. I mean, you will see a video with her sooner than later. Is you know, you must believe you are the one. Like maybe it's not myself the one that gets the Nobel Prize of Peace. Maybe it's my kid with her. Just saying. Just this is how much power of prediction I have. There are chances of that. Like Alejandro Magno and Felipe. And Philip. So I'm with this girl, and her definition of love is like wondrous admiration of the being that you have in front of you. That's love. It's like the feeling of wonder and admiration of the presence of the being in front of you. And I'm like, wow, like unconditional wonder. It's like, wow, like you are there in front of me and you are alive and you are, wow. And I'm like, but that's a nice definition. And when I told my definition, she was like almost crying, like, wow, that's so painful, your definition. It's like when only you are like hurt and vulnerable and in this position of inferiority towards the other person is where you are going to feel love, Carlos. And when you get the support and the help of the others when you are low, it's like, wow. So it's not like an equal relationship, it's like when you are down, the other person can love you. And it's like, okay, good point. And in her definition, it's like, when you put up the other person, like when you get the other person and you put them so high and so up, like wow, you're a wonderful manifestation of life in this reality. It's like wow, like I love you so much. It's like oof. You know, in my definition, I only get love when I'm below. In her definition, she gives love by putting people above, and I'm not above because it's more like equals, because at the same time you by loving yourself you can love others, by realizing that you are also like a wonderful manifestation of life in this reality. So that's love. How do we move from there to joy? Because yeah, there is this component of awe in between, right, which is actually the emotion that I was studying when I was doing the PhD on positive emotions and nature and spirituality and nature. Yeah. So there is this awe which is related with fear, because I think there is a choice here. So when you realize this, you can feel fear or feel joy, because fear is excitement with a negative outcome, like a cognitive negative outcome. It's like, okay, my body is reacting, and I believe that this thing, this stimuli that I'm perceiving is going to, it might harm my survival, my life. So then I jump into fear, and then I flight or fight or I freeze. And speaking about fight, Yeah, fight, which we are speaking about this, right? Zoom. Yeah. War. Sweet Turcans. Okay, we are getting somewhere. Easy. We are getting somewhere now. So if I'm in this state of fear and my fight or flight response reacts, then I might escalate to an international conflict. Good. However, this comes from awe, which is the admiration, the acknowledgement of the power of the other entity. Okay, let's call it like this because we can feel awe by a mountain. Okay, so I admire, no, I acknowledge because I'm scared. I acknowledge the huge immensity and power of the other entity, and I feel awe. My body reacts. I'm having a physiological reaction and in front of this entity. This helps calms yourself physiologically, obviously. We are going to put here undeniable physiological techniques, physiology, because Carlito Fluido had one respiration, breathing. My first business card was like aprende a respirar. Happiness. Happiness is where we breathe in the correct way or in the right way, and then on the other side, like learn to breathe. So I somewhere the card. I didn't give them all. So my point there was like through physiological strategies and techniques, we can activate our parasympathetic system. So then we can self-regulate our sympathetic system that is triggering the responses of fight and flight. Therefore, we can avoid conflicts. We can respond to situations using our prefrontal cortex instead of our more basal ganglia in our brain, which are triggering these impulsive survival instincts that are going to be more prone to conflict with the other entities. Duh. Okay. So we are in this moment of acknowledging the grandiosity of the other entity, and how can we transform this into excitement, which is more related with joy. And the idea is the trick that Simon Sinek speak multiple times is like athletes before the race, they feel excited. They don't feel afraid, they feel excited because they imagine a positive outcome. So how can we solve conflicts? Actually, with positive psychology, by imagining a positive outcome out of this situation instead of a negative outcome that is going to put you in a defensive state. And now, how naive is this? I mean, I just say that I might gain, that I might be awarded a Nobel Prize. So how naive do you want it to be? It's like totally delusional. But delusions make reality. Like the world wasn't built by people smarter than you or me. So both of us, we can believe we are the one and that we can make this happen. It's like this is the level of delusion we are speaking about. And this is where joy appears, right? Like for me, joy is like the celebration, and in many occasions, the shared celebration of love. This is the way I say how joy and love relate. Like we are happy and joyful when we are celebrating the understanding and the admiration of the other person as a living thing, which is love. Like it's like a really good moment to get a bit more like mathematical here. Like love equals And for this, I could need like the artificial intelligence, right? Like admiration of life. And then joy equals celebration, shared celebration of love. Now we take love and we put admiration of life, the shared celebration of the admiration of life. That's joy. And peace. How does that relate to peace, which is this thing? And it's so nice because we are going to finish the video with a definition of peace, which is the first thing. Boom! The first thing to get to something and to get to progress is to define the concept, which is very much not a Taoistic point of view, because in the first verse of Tao says, the Tao that can be expressed is not the eternal Tao, and the name that can be defined is not the unchanging name. So, simple as that, we are going for the definition of peace. So, peace was the water break. Water, there is so many Taoistic metaphors related with water. Is such an amazing element, right? Like adaptability. Like water is where the water is. Like water shapes where the water is with the container. And this is Bruce Lee, no? If you are in the glass, you are the glass. If you are in the jar, you are the jar. Be water, my friend. And Tao, I mean, that philosophy is based on Taoism, which speaks about the water so many times. And because of the empty space where nothing exists, we can use the container as containers. So the water adapts, and the water is peaceful because it adapts. Adaptability, I think I have put it somewhere here. Resilient change, adaptability. Adaptability is such a nice word, nicer than all this resilience stuff. So many studies. Adaptability. Adapt. So what is peace? Peace is the equanimous observation in a state of calm and presence. Is the presence of joy. Is like embodied calm presence and embodied joyful love. That's in embodied in an equanimous, calm, peaceful presence. The embodied presence, the embodied, youthful, joyful presence of love. I like that. Let's go for this one. Embodied, joyful presence. I'm experimenting. Embodied, joyful presence of love. The embodied celebration of love, presence of love. It doesn't work. The embodied celebration of admiration of life, the embodied presence. Okay, just to start with, the embodied presence. I'm blank, guys. If we leave it here, we leave it with a cliffhanger. Like in the next chapter, we will be exploring more ways of figuring out a definition. But I'm a guy that likes to publish unfinished things. Like I'm changing for mine, so I'm not going to leave this for tomorrow. But don't force it. Don't force it, because forcing it is violent. What is peace? Serene. Like being in a state of peace. I mentioned this on a podcast with Eric. Being at peace is to be observant and to be present in front, to embody joyfulness. Okay, we got this. To embody the celebration of the admiration of life, to embody joy. In a present way. To be present. Embodied presence of joy. Menos es más. Less is more, guys. The embodied presence of joy. The embodied presence of the celebration of the admiration of life. So when you are in your body and you're present to the celebration of life, of admiring life, then you're at peace. And that was a very intellectual map of what's going on in the world, together with a working definition of peace and a spiritual definition of peace. And with this video, guys, I believe I had enough. Because now I have an action plan, a deadline, and vehicles, and a goal, and a direction. So guys, soon more, because the world needs some of that stuff. Peace. Peace out. May the love of playing camp follow your journey. Wow, I didn't expect that, but there you go. Nene, qué tecnologías. Que salgan tiendas de campaña del Plain Camp este. No van a salir, ¿no? De los emojis de la tienda de campaña, pero van a salir del corazón. Vale, ahí lo tenéis, chicos. Pa, el amor del Plain Camp para todos vosotros. Dame un par de corazones. No, ya no va a salir, o sí. Chicos, quiero mis corazones. No va a salir ya. ¿Te tengo que dar un corazón así? Ahí está, ahí lo tienes. El amor del Playing Camp. Venga, pa ti. El amor del Playing Camp. Chu, chu. Qué guapo. I hope you like the video. If you are a video editor, help me, please. If you know about social media, if you know about personal branding, if you know about everything, look, next videos I can appear with this. And actually, yes, we both know that I can take a picture using this frame to post. So people believe that the video is actually, because you need to get a good click-through rate. If people don't click, they don't watch. So let's go. Well, actually, if I do peace, Maybe it's a nice picture. Other than that, I can do. Yeah. Hopefully, I can reverse this and you can actually see what I'm writing. Love, guys. Love.